Once again this offseason, it appears Trey Hendrickson is destined for divorce with the Cincinnati Bengals. Could Monti Ossenfort put an exclamation point on his stellar Cardinals offseason, Johnny Venerable?
Plus, will the Cardinals get primetime luxury with the NFL release on Wednesday, or will it be table scraps again for our precious Redbirds? While there's one international game that we're still keeping an eye on, it's PHNX Cardinals starts now. Hey, welcome in. Live from Studio K, presented by our friends at Circle K. It's the PHNX Cardinals podcast, your premier #1 Arizona Cardinal podcast. Look and subscribe. Leave us a 5-star wherever you get your programming. There is no voice crack today. Don't you put that bad mojo on me. I'm Johnny Venerable. He's Brack in Studio K. Big Kev behind the mic today. We don't know where Damon is. We don't care. It's PHNX Cardinals on a Monday.
He's fired again. We just fired Damon Dog for the second time this month. I'll let the door hit you on the way out, but we'll welcome him back with open arms probably later this week. It's just the dysfunctional relationship we have with our producer. It's just we can't quit Damon Dog. So he'll be back, but Ayrton, Kevin, they're holding it down, and a very aggressive Johnny Venerable here. And then look, why not be aggressive on May 12th, about a month and a half before the NFL season? There's lots to be aggressive about. So thank you for tuning in. Of course, check out the rest of what we have here on PHNX Sports. Subscribe and like this video. Ryan, Ozzy, ZT, one of our newest diehards. How about Shaft? What's going on? He's got about 12 diehard accounts, and we thank him for it. One for every member of his family. Amadeus, Jackson, Boise, G. Willikers, Nathaniel, just the whole squad. Robert, Bonnie, Brockable. It's a great collection of friends here. Close to 200 here live to start this show.
These are my people. I'm in Jonesing. It felt weird. During draft season, little inside baseball, the height of draft season, Bo and I are doing about 12 shows a week, minimum, right? And so draft season is over, and we get into now the dog days ahead of the schedule release, and it's like, why am I not doing a show 10 out of 12 days? Why am I not doing a show every day, sometimes multiple times a day? It doesn't feel right. I was just watching premium HBO TV with my wife yesterday. I'm like, should I be doing a Cardinal podcast right now? It feels like I should be. So, of course, I'm fired up here on a Monday. People are paying respects to Damon. No, he's not gone forever, just temporarily. We wish him well. He's a little rascal running around that Old Town Scottsdale. We don't know what he does.
Yeah, that's my guess, right? Last time I saw he was hanging out at the beach. He was in Hawaii before that.
Shirtless.
It's tough to keep up with young strapping Damon Dog, just living the bachelor life that you and I have said goodbye to many years ago for a loving family. That's fine.
We're so old. We're so depressed. The only thing I'm not depressed for is Cardinal football. It just feels different right now. It slaps harder than it's ever slapped before. And could we pick the carcass of one remaining embarrassing franchise yet again? It's the Cincinnati Bengals. Well, how the turntables. The Cincinnati Bengals, who made Trey Hendrickson available before the NFL draft. Remember, all the way before free agency, before Sweaty J became a Cardinal, before Calais came back, Trey Hendrickson was made available. And despite what burnouts here in this market would tell you, the Cardinals absolutely called on Trey Hendrickson and keyed in on Trey Hendrickson and got a pulse for the room. But then it came to be that the Bengals were not realistic. Shocker. And we're asking teams for a first-round pick, which they were never getting for a player well over 30 years old. So then you know what Trey Hendrickson said? Trey Hendrickson said, I'm going to be a good stalwart. I'm going to go do Make-A-Wishes. I'm going to go volunteer. And you guys take care of me. I think I'm, top of the line pass rusher market, maybe a 3-year deal with a bunch of guarantees will make it happen. Well, then the Bengals did what they always do. They paid 2 wide receivers, and they said, this bank is closed. Sorry, Trey. And then they took Shamar Stewart, who, by the way, wants to be paid and is holding out of rookie camp. It's just a disaster. So this is all culminated today with a report from Adam Schefter. Do we have the report here? Here it is. Trey Hendrickson has made a statement. He has come out and said there has been no communication between his camp and the Bengals post-draft. That's a shocker. The offers prior to the draft did not reflect the vision we shared. One more time. And were promised last offseason, if I continue to play at a high level, back-to-back 17 and a half seasons, coaches are aware of these conversations. Rather than using collaboration to bring me home to this point, they are no longer communicating. One more time. And then lastly, I've been eagerly awaiting a resolution of this situation, but that's hard to do when there's no discussion and an evident lack of interest in reaching mutual goals. What a poverty franchise. Yet, here's what I'll say, Bo. Now I want your take on it.
Yeah.
Trey Hendrickson did this to yourself. You trusted these frauds. You trusted this franchise. And we said all along, they're going to take a first-round pass rusher, and they're not going to pay Trey Hendrickson. And well, March 12th, they haven't paid him.
Unlike Johnny Venerable and Bo Brack, you can't trust every employer. We can trust ours here at PHNX Sports to take care of us. But as far as Trey Hendrickson trusting the Cincinnati Bengals, the biggest bumble F of an organization, at least in my lifetime, like when I was growing up, there wasn't a worse organization than the Cincinnati Bengals. And they still have many of those issues that they've had for far too long, the entire time, owned by the Brown ownership. And they just get a little, they like to pinch pennies. They like to do things their own way. And it's not the way of the modern day NFL, especially when you're trying to, keep players happy and player empowerment. And when you got Trey Hendrickson, who's just being a good soldier, going out there and having back-to-back 17 and a half sack seasons, and then saying, hey, all these edge rushers are getting paid. The price is going up for the level of production that I'm giving you at my position. Take care of me, please. And they refuse to do so. Instead, they just go pay guys that are catching the football from Joe Burrow and now have one of the more underserved defenses, even with Trey Hendrickson on the club. It's a mess, as things always are in Cincinnati. So, I guess you could say that. I guess you could say shame on Trey Hendrickson, but now he's fed up. And does he become available? I was kind of following with Ian Rappaport, who followed up the news today, that was saying he still believes that the most logical thing to happen would be Trey Hendrickson getting paid from the Cincinnati Bengals and not going anywhere.
No, Ian. No, we're not carrying water this time, Ian. That's not happening. Does anybody remember this quote from Bengals executive Katie Blackburn? You guys remember this one? Mm-hmm. When asked about Trey Hendrickson, I think he should be happy at certain rates that maybe he doesn't think he'd be happy at. I think some of it's on him to be happy at some point. And if he's not, that's what holds it up sometimes. So, it takes him to say yes to something. And also, we have all the respect in the world for him. We're just going to see where it goes. So she threw shade at him before the draft. Yeah. Then they drafted a pass rusher who, we dogged on Shamar Stewart. He's going to sign a contract. He's going to get out there and run around in the skivvies before training camp. It'll probably happen. This thing with Trey Hendrickson, I think he gets, well, probably.
Logic would say that with most organizations. I think you have to leave the door ajar that they can mess this up too. It's slotted money for first round picks. The NFL and their Players Association took all the hard work out of these rookie contracts. They made them plug and play for the most part without, a little offset contract here and there. But there's not been any extensive holdouts, but I don't know if any organization's capable of doing it and stepping on it. It's the Cincinnati Bengals.
I think if at some point, we talked about this in March, Trey has to make this uncomfortable. And maybe this was the first step, because if you're the Bengals and you're like, we don't want to commit to you, you're old, even though you're productive, and the system in the scheme that you were in, we fired our defensive coordinator and we took this pass rusher in the first round, whatevs. Maybe they would be open now to doing something. I don't think it's a given that he plays for them this year. I think when you see George Pickens, who is not the person of Trey Hendrickson, let me make that clear, being dealt post-draft. I mean, if Shamar Stewart plays and is running around and they like what they see and Trey Hendrickson holds out, I think that's the formula. I think if Shamar Stewart looks productive in training camp, because I think the longer the Stewart thing lingers, they're not going to trade Trey Hendrickson. But if Trey Hendrickson and Shamar Stewart both take a certain avenue, I think the Bengals would be open to doing a deal. Because right now, like, if he's holding out of training camp and you've got a new regime, a new defensive staff, and he's like, I'm not playing another down for you people, and we've got another Hassan Reddick, but this time this is a player that has warranted it, unlike Hassan. I think you could convince me that he gets dealt again. I don't, with respect to Ian Rappaport, who's been on the show before, I don't think it's any lock that he's going to just show up and play and be happy. Like, he's got a window. He has a window to get paid. He knows that.
Well, and also when you take in consideration all the mess, the dysfunction that's going on, you got Katie Blackburn saying this and that, and like nobody will pick up the phone and talk to Trey Hendrickson and give him an update as far as where they are for something that, you know, it seemed like they were all on the same page for, you know, after he just led the NFL in sacks. So, and like Shamar Stewart is the opposite of Trey Hendrickson. Like, and that's what is puzzling to me. You know, obviously it's a cap league, but Trey Hendrickson, I wouldn't imagine, and we didn't get this sense, especially when we were talking consistently to Mike Garafolo, that Trey Hendrickson wants to go out there and reset the market and also get, you know, a bunch of added years to this. This is like something that I think would be like, if you give Trey Hendrickson a 2-year deal and you put him in the top 5 as far as edge rushers, he's not even close. No. He's at like 16 or 17, $18 million, where like Max Crosby's getting like 35, Myles Garrett's getting 40. Like, he's not even halfway there, or he is halfway there. That's it. He's halfway to, you know, where the guys that, you know, wish they had his production.
I mean, his base salary is just under 16 million. His cap number this year is 18.6. I mean, I get it. He is not 27. He's 31, and that's being held against him. But if, like, you shouldn't be punished if you play your best football in your 30s. Actually, you should be commended that you take care of your body and you're in a position to perform at a high level post 30 years old, where a lot of guys fall off a cliff. We're going to take a quick break. Then I want to come around the corner and I want to talk about realistic packages for Trey Hendrickson as it relates to the Arizona Cardinals, and why I still believe that they would be open to doing a deal. That's coming up. It's PHNX Cardinals. Cardinals competition on their defensive line getting hot and heavy. Stay cool this offseason with All Pro Shades Concepts. Extend your outdoor living space with a custom fit awning. They've got hundreds of designs to choose from. Motorized with a retractable remote. How about that? They've got the LED lighting. I was just at a friend's house this week, and they've got all the fixes from All Pro Shades Concepts. All the fixes that you can't believe the deal they got. Right now, call for yourself, 63204. 1476. Visit allproshadesconcepts.com. Get a free estimate today from a business that's been here 20 plus years in the Valley. They started out doing patio shades, window shades for friends and family by hand. Now they're one of the largest installers of patio roll-down shades and motorized awnings in the Valley. And again, they can come out, they can do a gut job, they can give you a quote on what it would be to update your current setup. But you got to check them out right now, allproshades.com, for your free estimate, Bo.
We are pumped to be talking about a new credit union that we are brought to you by our Mountain American Credit Union. We love old Mountain American Credit Union. Check it out. Make my style checking your lifestyle. Love what's going on. Everybody needs a checking account, right? You got to put your money somewhere. You're not going to just dig holes in your backyard and throw them in there in a tin can. It's 2025. Get yourself a checking account. Get an account with built-in benefits. Who doesn't like to earn free stuff? Mountain America My Style checking account has the perks for you. You can enjoy. How about restaurant deals, mobile phone protection, telehealth access, identity protection? Johnny needs that. Loan rate discounts, offer on travel and events. Who doesn't want to travel more and earn those perks from our friends over at Mountain America Credit Union? It's unbelievable. My style, your lifestyle at Mountain America Credit Union. Visit macu.com/mystyle to apply. Membership required based on eligibility. Some benefits require no cost registration activation. Terms, conditions, and exclusions apply.
Almost 350 watching live on YouTube here on a Football Monday. Hit that like button and go get the deals on deals that are up and running at gophnx.com. We're having an all-city merch. I'm just going to call it a sale party, party of sales. Our Greg Dortch t-shirt, by the way, the Greg Dortch podcast, you sent this to me earlier today, a cool $8. You want an $8 Greg Dortch t-shirt? Check out our sale right now. PHNX, gophnx.com. All City, we've got sales across all of our networks. But again, we're unloading to reload here, and go take advantage of the deals right now that you can't find anywhere else. All right, so
the Dortch shirt, man, it's a classic. It is. I mean, like, it's a throwback when we were growing up, and you had the sports stars that were on the t-shirt with the larger head. It's a throwback to that. Now, it does have the 83. I know he's wearing number 4, but some would call that vintage. You can get a nice vintage tee for under $10. Can't beat that. Of course, at the PHNX merchandise locker.
Yeah, it's store.allcitynetwork.com. Our hoodies on sale. It's my favorite hoodie I've ever gotten. Our couple Marv t-shirts, what's still remaining, they're 30% off right now. Bo's shirt that he's repping right now is 30% off. This hat from our friends at Branded Bills is 30% off. Again, check it out right now. You will not be sorry that you did. Will the Cardinals be sorry if they don't pursue Trey Hendrickson? What would a package need to look like? So you and I were pretty consistent throughout the course of the offseason. We felt like 47 was the max you would ever do for Trey Hendrickson leading into that draft class. Now, here's what's interesting, is if the Bengals play themselves and have to deal Trey Hendrickson, they will not get assets to help them this year, or so you would think. So let me first start off this conversation by asking you this. Is there a player or players that are on the roster that are movable that you could include along with a premium draft pick, probably a day 2 pick, that you could include in a deal for Trey Hendrickson? And yes, cueing all the Jalen Thompson ones. Yeah. But are there any players that stand out to you?
Very interesting. I mean, obviously you've got kind of a surplus of defensive backs now. I know you don't want to sell very low on Elijah Jones, but like, where does he figure into this defensive backs room, or Starling Thomas for that matter? Like, Starling Thomas, I think, would probably be viewed now going into year 3 is a starting caliber cornerback in this league, which is tough to sometimes nail down. Now I'm looking at the DBs. What's going to help them in their defensive front 7 that the Arizona Cardinals loaded up on this offseason? I don't know if anybody would check in on BJ Ojulari, and I don't think you should sell low on BJ Ojulari coming off an injury. But Xavier Thomas, I know that might be just Cardinals. Somebody covers the Cardinals and say, "Can I interest you in a Xavier Thomas?" And somebody's saying, "Thanks, but we're looking. Our sights are set a little higher." Who do you have in mind?
You know what? I think you would have to include a pass rusher to do something like this, because you're taking a pass rusher. I don't. Looking at the Bengals depth chart, Bo, I'm looking at a bunch of unproven guys along with Shamar Stewart and Trey Hendrickson. Their depth chart looks like something called Joseph Asaye, Cam Sample, Cedric Johnson. They've got a couple like BJ Hill's solid defensive tackle. So they've got some guys. Asaye was I think a 3rd-round pick out of Texas a couple years ago. So, I mean, honestly, it looks a lot like, Miles Murphy. Remember him? I think he went to Clemson a couple of years ago. He's been a little bit of a bust for Cincinnati. So they've had some players where, kind of like the Cardinals last couple off seasons, it's like, yeah, I know those guys, but they're not super productive. I mean, to deal Trey Hendrickson, they would lose all of their juice as a pass rush unit. And you would be putting a lot of pressure on Shamar Stewart to come in and immediately be the guy. I mean, looking at the Cardinals, the Cardinals do have some surpluses now. They have not for some time. I don't think they would take on Jalen Thompson. I don't know if the Cardinals would deal Jalen Thompson. I don't think they would take him on, in large part because, yes, he's an impending free agent, but they would have to swallow his money this year, and he's got a good amount of it. I think you're barking up the right tree with Starling Thomas, Elijah Jones. What's the common denominator with those guys? They're young and they're cheap. They're not making any money yet. Is there a player at edge rusher and or defensive tackle that you could do, that you could flip? You're not going to trade Jordan Birch, Darius Robinson, Walter Nolen. If BJ Ojulari had been healthy and you got something from him and he had finished, let's say he tweaked something, but he finished the season on an uptick and he had a handful of sacks. I think that's a play package to, I don't think he has any, I know he doesn't have any trade value right now coming off major injury. Is Zaven Collins a tradable player? I don't think so. I mean, that's where it gets tough. I think, first of all, you'd have to deal your second round pick next year, which we all hope and assume. Yeah, I do. I mean, to get this done, to incentivize them to do a deal. I mean, what Pickens just went for a third. Now he's much younger, but 17 and a half sacks. I mean, assuming that we think the Cardinals are going to be a playoff team. So that means the Cardinals pick is going to be 50 or lower in the second round next year. Would you trade a second for 17 and a half sack Trey Hendrickson? I know we're all talking ourselves into this unit, but what is the biggest, and this was going to be my original point, Bo, what is the biggest question mark pertaining to this team still? They were going to take Mykel Williams because even with Baron Browning and Josh Sweat, they know they could use another guy. What do we want in the second round? Will Johnson was there, so you had to take him, but we were talking about Nick Scoreton or some of those guys. So then they eventually took Jordan Birch at 78. All I'm saying is, like, you still could use another proven pass rusher to go opposite Josh Sweat.
Yeah, proven commodity. I mean, is about as proven commodity as you can get right now in the NFL as a guy who's been so consistent and has 35 sacks over the last two seasons, 17 and a half in each and every of the last two. And that's great. Yeah, I mean, then you'd have to start to see, like, okay, are we pushing all our chips into the middle of the table for this season? Well, this organization, especially the powers that be, Monti Ossenfort, Jonathan Gannon, have maintained, look, they're always going to be draft and develop team. That's how they're going to get this roster to where they want to put it in consistently winning football games. And does that kind of hinder your ability to do that, giving up, your lock top 100, one of your two top 100 picks, your first and your second round, this case, your second rounder. I think that's a little bit rich, especially when, like, the rest of the league is telling you, like, even with the production, they don't view Trey Hendrickson is that valuable. I mean, it seems like it's been a pretty sleepy market for Trey Hendrickson outside of people picking up the phone and just kind of keeping tabs on him. It's even, sleepy as far as the Bengals between them and their player. Like, they don't value him that much. So, like, what would they,
by the way?
Yeah, it is. Like, I think a late day 2 pick should probably be the highest you can go there. I get what you're saying, and I agree with you as far as you don't have that production you can point to off the edge outside of Josh Sweat. Everything else is kind of projections and, like, hey, we think Baron Browning, BJ Ojulari in the right scenario, Jordan Birch can pick up, alongside Josh Sweat and Zaven Collins. But yeah, you don't know. I mean, it would have to be like, it would signify the most win now move that this team has had since adding Chandler Jones in 2016. I just don't think that they're in that business. I think it's a longer play for them.
Yeah. And again, like, you don't want to invest too much into one position unit, and you'd be paying he and Josh Sweat, probably certainly combine over 50, maybe $60 million for this year. The Cardinals have like right around 30 to $35 million, depending on who you talk to, as they try to get Walter Nolen, Will Johnson signed. So they've got flexibility. I'm sure they don't want to burn all that. And you'd be able to backload any kind of deal for Trey Hendrickson. But I do feel like that is still, and again, the Cardinals are going to do their talking by playing meaningful football, hopefully late into the year. Like that, we're not in a position to sit here and win any preseason ranking competitions, although we'll talk about them ad nauseum. That is the kind of move, though, that really announces yourself, not only in the NFC West, but it would announce you to the rest of the NFC, would it not? To say, like, hey, we've just completed unequivocally the biggest turnaround for a defensive front in NFL history, right? Like, save for some modest, acquisitions at off-ball linebacker, we added what could have been the Super Bowl MVP. We're adding a guy who had 17 and a half sacks. We signed multiple premium defensive tackles in free agency. We've got one coming back from injury. And, by the way, we took one 16th overall. I mean, it would signify to the rest of the league, like, put your Niner pom-poms away, put your McVay, fat heads away. Like the Cardinals are coming after this. And I do feel like if you're Monti Ossenfort and Jonathan Gannon, and you're in a position this year to secure generational wealth and security for your family and trying to get new deals, potentially 5-year deals. Remember, Cliff and Keim got 5-year deals, and it's still paying Cliff Kingsbury to this day.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what? If there was a deal to be made, they would be foolish to completely ignore it. Because again, we know unequivocally that they were still looking to upgrade pass rusher. Now they may have seen, and this is a stretch, enough of Jordan Birch in shorts for 3 days and think we're probably all right. And I hope that is the case. I hope you didn't nail the 78th overall pick. And there's always a possibility they could add the trade deadline again. But I feel like that is still the one issue where, let's say if Josh Sweat can't get home, right? What are you getting from that other side? There's a lot of pressure on that other side opposite Sweat.
Well, you're going to get more pressure from the interior.
For sure.
I mean, it's just going to be, it's enough to where you feel way more comfortable than you did at the end of the last season. That's not saying a lot. It was the biggest weakness by a lot, but I think that they've improved so significantly that you're like, hey, I kind of like this group. I want to see where it goes. It's got a good mix of established guys who've been productive 4 guys you bring in, including your first round pick, had close to the same amount of pressures as your entire group last year, which is crazy. But like, is somebody, going to decline, or are you relying too much on somebody to pop? That might be the case. And, injuries, obviously, as they did last year, reared their ugly head on BJ Ojulari in this unit. Man, on one token, it seems like it's no brainer, but just the way that this team likes to build and it's such a long-term play. And also they probably wouldn't want to create any kind of hurdles for guys like BJ Ojulari to get back into the mix, even though you and I would say, well, BJ Ojulari's had 2 injury-plagued seasons, so don't rely on him any longer. This gives you an out on that. I just think that they want to continue to be what they've told us over and over again. They're draft and develop, and giving up anything like in the first or second round is too much in the eyes of the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah, that's fair. And again, like I'm not going to sit here and boast about BJ Ojulari, the player after 2 years, but I also know the NFL reclamation projects like him happen every year where guys are completely off the radar and they finally are locked into a situation where they're not asking to be the man and they can come in and play at their own. And BJ Ojulari may look average.
His brother did it last year.
Yeah, he could look average in August and September, and he could find his groove back from injury and look like a completely different player in November. And then you're like, I can't believe we're ever going to trade this guy. And he's an ascending prospect. I mean, so it probably is wishful thinking. I mean, Trey Hendrickson inquiries before Sweat made sense. Now, especially after, Jordan Birch is the top 100 pick. And here's what I will say. The Cardinals use all their draft picks almost every year. Unless you're Elijah Jones and you're injured, like, think about it. Garrett Williams came off of injury reserve in year 1 and played and started right away. Michael Wilson started. Tip Ryman, Isaiah Adams was a starter at the quarter end of the last year. Like, if Jordan Birch is starting by Thanksgiving and he's beating out Baron Browning and BJ Ojulari, then you're never looking back at that position.
Right. Yeah, playing significant snaps. It's a rotation anyway. But Ayrton, if you could pull this up in the chat, AC315. What's the point? It's just up past Claymore Jones, who also made a good point. There you go. Just underneath that. There you go. What's the point of all the young players if you're not going to play them on defense? Let them play. They were already great, in my opinion, and they had less talent last year. Look, I agree with this, and I think the organization, this is how they operate. Where the previous regime would have been like, well, we've got some guys developing, but we would rather have a proven commodity come in here right now, even though if the proven commodity is only incrementally better and we're going to stunt the development and then we're going to figure out about these young players later. Like this organization leans into drafting and developing and make sure their guys are in the right place. So, I just think that it is just one of those things where, yeah, it probably would have made sense. I still would celebrate it if it happened. If his market crashes in Cincinnati, it's at a stalemate and they can't come to terms and they're willing to flip him for like a fourth round pick, then go do it. Or even if it turns into a third round pick at the highest, I think that's a huge win for the Arizona Cardinals.
I will push back on that comment only slightly because I understand the thought process behind it. Because we've watched this franchise block Byron Murphy, block Zach Allen, guys with big time upsides, and then like have seen flashes from those guys. The difference with this group is like outside of Birch, who was a third rounder but should play, like I have not seen enough from B.J. Ojulari. And if it's not B.J. Ojulari, like who are we referring to? A fifth rounder from Clemson last year who had no business playing?
Yeah.
Like, we're banking on a fifth rounder being infinitely better and more valuable long-term than a guy who has 35 sacks in 2 years. Like I understand the thought process. The only top 50 pick that you've used on an edge rusher, he has been hurt 2 years and you've got nothing from it. If you're talking to me about don't block Walter Nolen, Darius Robinson, brother, I'm right there with you. Don't do it. Don't you dare do it. Hell, I'm even somebody of the camp like I was not banging the drum to overspend on Will Fries because Isaiah Adams, I know they like him. He's going to start this year, right?
Yeah.
Same thing. We have this conversation about Michael Wilson every day. He's like, he can play. I know it. Just get him more targets. I just have not seen enough. I know AZ Cardinals saying BJ showed a lot of promise his rookie year. Brother, that feels like 10 years ago. He was out of shape because he was injured his rookie year. He had to have surgery. He had to play himself into shape and then got some, a little bit of swag back. And then last year had a very good training camp. We were told by the Cardinals defensive line coach at the combine that had he not gone down, he would have had 10 sacks. I'm sure they believe that, but he blew out his knee. His knee. So I'm not going to sit here and say like the Cardinals have not won the NFC West in 10 years. They haven't made the playoffs since 2021. And I was at that playoff game in the press box. It was an utter embarrassment. So I think when you're the Packers, you can do this. You can play the long game. You can say, we're in the playoffs every year. Draft and develop. We're in a good spot. And I'm with you, 9 times out of 10. But you're in the NFC West, brother. And this is a gauntlet, right? With Devontae Adams and everybody slobbering over the 49ers and the Seahawks, whether it works or not, super aggressive. Like, you can't wait for picks from 2 to 3 years ago to continue to we got to see at least, you got to give me something to latch onto. And right now, I would tell you if we're hedging bets right now, if Baron Browning is supplanted by any of these players this year at pass rusher, in my opinion, it's going to be from their third round pick this year. I think he has the best chance, in my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, I think there's enough snaps to go around on this defense in the way that Rollis and JG and you look at the rotation and you can get excited about it. I mean, it's Sweaty J and the boys. It's Josh Sweat. It's Baron Browning. It's hopefully BJ Ojulari. It's Zaven Collins and it's Jordan Birch. Like that's 5 deep right there that you can say, hey, I like this. I like the established veteran that's performed on every stage in Sweaty J. Including what you said, could have been the MVP of the Super Bowl.
No doubt.
And then, you got guys that Zaven knows his role. He's more of a guy against the run. He's a guy that can get into coverage a little bit and he'll provide some sort of, pressure off the edge. And then you got the 2 young bucks in BJ and Birch where you're just like, hey, show me something, like show some upside as far as getting to opposing quarterbacks. Xavier Thomas, XT, I'm not sold, especially with some of the things that, like you said, like we heard, I think he's kind of doesn't have the versatility that they traditionally like from their outside linebackers, and is probably a guy that would be destined for a practice squad if you can sneak him onto that without getting picked up.
If we're talking like surface level, could you trade players this training camp for future picks or a different area of need? I mean, like he's 25. He had 2.5 sacks last year. Like, might be some value there. And I think, as much as I hate to say this, if they are going to stick with the status quo, at least with Justin Jones or Bilal Nichols, hopefully not both. I don't think both.
Yeah.
Like you could, I think Dante Stills could be somebody we didn't mention where you could potentially move I think Dante Stills probably, we didn't even mention him, probably has some cachet. 5 sacks back-to-back years, making no money as a 6th rounder. So
it's
go ahead.
It's a numbers crunch, right? And it's like some guys, some players fall victim to it. And like there's some guys like Stills who I think has endeared himself to the organization, being part of that first class and going from 6th round underdog to a guy that was starting games for this team the last 2 seasons and being productive. Like people will hold on to that. But at the same time, like just the sheer numbers crunch, even without a Trey Hendrickson, which is very unlikely, it's going to be tough. Like there's going to be casualties of this. And you're gonna be like, I can't believe they let go of it. But it's also a testament to how deep this roster and this defensive front 7 has seemingly overnight become. So, but if I'm Monti Ossenfort, let's just call him up first and say, hey, can I interest you in Bilal Nichols? Maybe Justin Jones? What do you think?
I mean, like to me,
I can't do both. I can't do both. Just play the heart, like kind of just like bluff a little bit.
Claymore Jones and Nichols should be on the street. That's extreme. Here's what I will say. I've made this known. I don't think Sean Murphy-Bunty's on this team this year. Yeah. And I will say, flip a coin, probably Bilal Nichols is cut as well. I would say two out of those 3 guys are not on the team. It's a good problem to have. Cardinals, Trey Hendrickson, we'll monitor that. Are we monitoring? Of course we are. The NFL schedule release. How many primetime games for the Arizona Cardinals? And will they be true primetime games, Bo? Or will they be scraps on an app that no one has? That's coming up. It's PHNX Cardinals. I'll tell you what's not scraps. The opposite. The elite. Empire Today. Check them out, empiretoday.com/PHNX. I'm a recent homeowner, as you know, this time last year. You don't screw around with floor, right? You screw around with some right. Nope, not floor that you walk on, that you take foundation on every single day. With Empire Today, get your shop at home convenience for the right products that you need with quick professional installation and a price match guaranteed. This is not a one-off transaction. This is a flooring acumen, friends. Plus, they've got the virtual floor designer, which is a great way to see how your new floors will look in any space. It's super easy. Just snap a picture and instantly you'll see how new floors will look in your room, okay? They've got warranties. If an issue arises, call them back. They'll take care of it, but they pride themselves on shop at home service. How about this for a saving? Schedule your free in-home estimate today. All listeners are going to receive $350 off with the discount when they use the bonus code PHNX. That's PHNX right now, $350 off. Restrictions apply. See them today, empiretoday.com/PHNX for details.
The greatest jingle in this area, Sanderson Ford. Yeah, Sanderson Ford, the dealership built that is still service built, actually. It's a dealership that's service built. How about that? And they've got the From America, for America employee pricing going on, meaning you pay what they pay. The great workers there at Sanderson Ford. It goes all the way to the top. It's all across America right now. Plus, receive all Ford incentives and APR rates during the Sanderson Ford Platinum 70th anniversary sale, which is going on now. Go check out their campus right now in the West Valley. It's beautiful, 60-plus acres there with over 1,000 vehicles during the Sanderson Ford Platinum 70th anniversary sale. Choose Sanderson Ford because they have the inventory. They've been celebrating 70 years of treating you right. Now is the best time to buy a new Ford from Sanderson Ford, from America, for America, employee pricing. Of course, it excludes 2025 Expedition, Super Duty, Raptor family, and Mustang and Bronco specialty vehicles. One pair of tickets you can get to the Diamondbacks just by showing up. You don't have to take a test drive. You just show up to the facility out there in the West Valley. You get a pair of tickets to see the D-backs take on the Kansas City Royals on July 6th while the supply of 200 tickets lasts. Go check out the, of course, dealership that is built on service, Sanderson Ford.
Big thanks to our friends at Sanderson Ford and everybody in the chat. Drop a like, subscribe to PHNX Sports here on YouTube. You're going to want to make sure you're subscribed, especially ahead of Wednesday. It's the NFL schedule release. We break it down ad nauseum every single year. We have been fairly accurate the last 2 years in predicting the schedule and then inevitably having the schedule. We are trying to piece together thus far what has been released. A lot of the primetime games have already been made known. We know, Bo, that the opener, super gross, is going to be Eagles hosting the Dallas Cowboys. So the Super Bowl champion Eagles hosting division rival Dallas. And then all the international games It's not official until it's official, but we do believe the Cardinals are going to be left out of the party from an international standpoint. So let's talk the rest of the schedule. I saw this today, and it just screamed Arizona Cardinals. And again, it's not the end-all be-all, but the NFL, let me pull this up here. I sent this to you earlier today.
Yeah.
So the Peacock holiday exclusive Week 17 NFL game to stream live in prime time, December 27th, 2025. So Peacock is hosting a throwaway game in prime time 2 days after Christmas on Saturday. Saturday night prime time with Peacock. Doesn't that just scream Arizona Cardinals? Doesn't that just scream like, hey, we're gonna put the Cardinals and the Rams or the Cardinals and the 49ers on Peacock? There's your primetime game, Cardinals. Do you like that?
It's exclusively on Peacock?
I think so, yes.
It's not on, like, it wouldn't be on 12 News here. I'm sure somebody would pick it up.
I
locally,
think
right?
I think they're going to have like a regular NBC game, and then
Yeah.
they're going to have this sham on the app. How about that? Like the ESPN Plus game.
Yeah, I don't think they could do that.
They did.
I mean,
what do you mean they couldn't
That's
do that?
that's that gray area of life where people they don't leave their couches, or they don't change out of sweatpants. They don't know if they're supposed to work the next day or not. But they did get that game last year, like when the game against the Rams was kind of turned into something that was going to be big. They flexed it to a late Saturday game kickoff, and they were on in prime time. But no, I agree. Like this does scream Cards football, especially if it's a division game, and this is going to be a tight division all the way from start to finish. I mean, it very well could be it. So, I mean, they're saying Peacock will be the exclusive national home of Week 17 games in prime time, streaming live Saturday, December 27th. And then, of course, the next day, on the 28th, they'll have, of course, that Sunday night game. They say it's their fourth Peacock exclusive NFL game. So I think it does simulcast.
Okay, so there's that. And then there's this, which I'm sure everybody saw this morning. So Ian Rappaport was on with Pat McAfee. Did you see this? And Rap Sheet, maybe he's in his car. I don't know where he is. It says he just got a text from a pretty good source. They're hearing that the Cardinals digital team has a banger of a schedule release this year. So people ran with that, and just, I guess maybe fair to assume that means that they're being taken care of like on a national stage. I don't read it like that. I read it like they just have a cool, fun way to announce the schedule this year. And I also think, listen, I root for creativity. I think I can't wait to watch what they have planned. Man, you're setting yourself up for criticism if you're coming out and you're like, yeah, this is going to be pretty sweet what we're doing. Like the Chargers typically have the best, and you just never hear a peep from them, and then they just drop it, and they let the presentation do the talking. So I hope the Cardinals didn't put their foot in their mouth by, clearly the Cardinals sent that to Ian Rappaport. Like they're like, hey, watch out, talk about us. And so if it's not good and they have limited primetime games, that's a tough scene.
Don't get too cocky. This is the big leagues, right? Like you have the Chargers, they're always coming, right? The Titans release from like 2 years ago is unbelievable.
Oh, so good.
You had people going down and trying to guess, help guess what the team was that they were playing.
Yeah.
It's unreal. One of my favorites I've seen. And like, so you're saying this a couple days before, people are going to have that expectation. And if you just come out and it's like, it's a logo of the team that you're facing, or, it's it was like the anime thing that was so popular on Chat GPT.
Yeah.
They just do that for every team that they're playing. It's like, hey guys, look, and come on, we're expecting fireworks here.
Right.
But I agree with you. I don't think it means that, they're going to be all up and down the prime time viewing schedule here, but I still am holding out hope for, at the very least two.
Yeah. Well, and to me, I think the over-under is 2.5 this year. I think that they had one last year and it was a throwaway. So at minimum, you're going to get 2 this year, given where the team is. 2.5 feels like the sweet spot. And if you get 3, when was the last time they had 3? Did they have 3 the year that they imploded in 2022? the first year you and I did the show together. They had the Christmas game horror show. They had Mexico City that year. And then they had that Thursday night game that they beat the Saints on. So the last time they had 3 was 2022. And then the league's like, we're done, Cardinals. We've had enough.
Yeah.
This is embarrassing. We can't put you on national TV anymore. Tim's saying he thinks it's minimum 3, 6 maximum. The problem is, and I would be inclined to agree with you, is that you now have a lot of these quote unquote bigger markets that are more viable now than they have been. The Commanders are going to get a gross amount of nationally televised games. The Bears now with Ben Johnson, you figure, I mean, the NFC North and the NFC East are going to get so many nationally televised.
They're already slobbering all over them, giving Dallas, letting Dallas kick off the season with the world champions. It's absurd.
I mean, like, national networks love the Broncos. The Broncos frauded it up to 9 wins or 10 wins, got a playoff berth, so they'll be all over the place. Like, I want to be like, just show a little. Come on, NFL, show us a little respect. Have some respect. Let's lock in 3. I don't need to be on Sunday night with.
If you hit the over on 2.5, you're sweating that out come Wednesday. You should be. Otherwise, you're just kind of like, gleefully oblivious to like how the league really operates, which is unfortunate. Like the most run this team has ever received was post 2015, right? 2015, they make the run to the NFC Championship game and they lose horribly to Cam Newton in that stifling defense. It was an awful. It was a massacre there in Charlotte. It was but then bad. They get Chandler Jones and they become the media darlings going in the 2016 season. And what would they get? They get 6 primetime games.
They opened the season on Sunday Night Football. They lost to Jimmy G. That was a tough scene. But they were all over the place. The league loved Bruce Arians. They loved Carson Palmer and Fitz. So the 2020,
I feel like people felt snake bitten by that. Like everybody they were picking the Cardinals.
You can't trust them.
Right.
Here, big reason why you can't trust them is you don't know who's playing quarterback at the end of the year. With Kyler and Carson would miss time because of injury, and then you'd be starting scrubs at quarterback. Like who are the guys the year Kyler tore his ACL starting games? David Blau was starting games.
Yeah.
Who was at the Christmas?
McSorley was.
You went to a Christmas game against Tampa with Trace McSorley. Can't be having that.
Man. Yeah, it was bad. Poor D-Hop was out there. He had 10 targets that game and 1 catch from Trace McSorley, who just couldn't find water if he fell out of a boat. It was unreal. It was one of the most pitiful displays of quarterback play, and they lost. It ended up being like the last, I think, game at home for J.J. Watt that season. But yeah, that was like the NFL was like, you guys are done for a while. You guys are done for a while, and we get last season after, of course, 2024. Or 2023, where they're just strictly Sunday afternoon games,
right?
Under the full down, tear down rebuild, they earned it back. They get a token kind of weird Monday night game on ESPN Plus, if you can call that, and then the added one later in the year on Saturday night against the Rams, and so
which is a great game. That was, I mean, that they lost, but it was that game against the Rams. It lived up to the billing.
I think at the very least, they're a Monday and a Thursday night game on the schedule this year.
Correct. I agree. I don't mind that. I told you this. I don't like Mike Tirico. He hates on the Cardinals. I don't want Mike Tirico calling these games. So I have no issue with that. Sunday night, the Cardinals would have to move heaven and earth to get a Sunday night game. You and I would both be blown away if they got a Sunday night game. Do you agree with that? Who they put them against? Like at Seattle?
I mean, it wouldn't be any of the. It would be like Dallas is on that. A potential team is always chance for prime time. Yeah, all those division games I think are in play.
Yeah, it's to me it just screams. You get one of each, and then it's a coin flip. If you get, I could see them getting 2 Monday night games.
Could they get Cincinnati? I think they could get Cincinnati. Like Joe Burrow, and obviously the league is high on the Bengals. They play, they host Green Bay. That's always a draw.
What about are they at Dallas or they're hosting Dallas?
It's at Dallas.
I think that's a game that's worth watching. Kyler Murray and his dominance over the Cowboys in that stadium. Is he still undefeated? And no, he lost to yeah, he's undefeated
in the state of Texas. Yeah, he did suffer.
He lost to Houston a couple of years ago, coming off the ACL. Yeah, I think Dallas versus Cardinals, Bengals, and then a divisional matchup. Man, really it is too bad that the international game kind of went kaput. Because that Colts game is going to be a early kickoff on a Sunday morning when that goes down anyway. So might as well just throw it on Germany. Let's go to Germany and hang out. Come on, NFL, don't be selfish.
Yeah, I just can't see Colts now, Saints, no chance, Jags, Titans, Carolina. Those are not in play. So you've got very few games on the schedule that are attractive to those big networks that paid a lot of money to get eyeballs, on their product, from Amazon to NBC, ESPN. I still, though, I think they'll graduate. They'll go from token Monday night game to token Monday night game and Thursday night game. I think the Thursday night game will be a division rival game.
There's no chance that they're saddled with just one again. Is there?
And I think that they'll put those new uniforms on TV.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So
there's no chance though that they're saddled with just one game again. Like if they just put them on Monday.
I don't think so. The league's not that naive. They're pretty dense, but I don't think they're that naive.
I mean, Trey and Marv. Yeah. Kyler stayed healthy all last year. That's a coup for them. You feel a little bit better about that. Man, we'll know in 2 days' time. And things are starting to trickle out on the Twitter streets. So maybe we'll know ahead of time. In the meantime, drop a like. Coming up, your super chats. It's PHNX Cardinals. But first, I mentioned it earlier in the show, 20% off right now at brandedbills.com. But hell, go to allcitynetwork.com. Check out PHNX. Save 30% off our Branded Bills collection right now. They are the perfect way to elevate your brand, is Branded Bills. Whether you need snapbacks, truckers, fitteds, beanies, tees, or more, Branded Bills has you covered with performance and style. They've got you covered with the best custom headwear. You want to start your own order. They've got a dedicated team to help you create the exact custom apparel that you need. They've got partnerships with ASU, U of A, as a part of their campus collection. They're locally owned, operated out of Mesa here, and they're going to hook you up, as are we. Head to brandedbills.com. Use the bonus code PHNX for your first order. Again, it's the only hat I wear now. Branded Bills, whether it's our U of A, ASU, PHNX, doesn't matter. I've got phenomenal collection of Branded Bills headwear. And again, with all due respect to everything else, I've pivoted completely. And you can too. You should save 20% off with the code BBB, PHNX, Branded Bills. Check them out now.
See that BB logo on hats all over the valley now. It's unreal. You ever check your bank account and wonder where the hell your money all went? It's everybody can kind of relate to that. It's easy to lose track. Those quick food delivery orders, you got random Amazon buys. I feel out of place when I don't have an Amazon package coming to my house now. When my wife likes to spend money, ride shares, concert tickets, it all adds up fast. Finances can get messy, confusing, but that's where Monarch Money comes in. Think of your own personal CFO, giving you full visibility, control over your financial life. You'll finally have that control thanks to Monarch Money. You can stop just earning and start actually growing your wealth, because that's what it's all about. You want to save money for your kids' future. You want stress-free family vacations. Monarch Money is going to get you in a place to think about your monthly spending and get you in a great spot. Name Wall Street Journal's best budgeting app of 2025 with over 30,000 five-star reviews. People love this thing. They love Monarch Money. Get control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use the code PHNX at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. They're saving you money even on themselves. That's monarchmoney.com with the code PHNX for 50% off your first year.
Check it out today. Check us out every day here on PHNX Sports. Subscribe to the YouTube. Big thanks to everybody who helped get us to 40K, get us to 50K here before the start of the 2025 NFL season. Jumping into Super Chats. Kicking things off with our guy, Jackson 199. I need the schedule so I can plan an away game. Jackson, you and I both, my guy. We were hoping for Frauding It Up International. Now we will, not reluctantly, we are excited to plan a road game with you and all of our diehard faithful. Do you have a preference, Bo Brock, right now? I'll put you on the spot.
Do I have a preference? I think you look at places where they are road proof, and like you see New Orleans, you see Tampa. Those would be two spots. It'd always be nice to go into the Jerry Dome and serve them a cold plate of despair and another loss for the Cowboys. So those are probably my top three road options for the Cardinals.
I also think, does it play into, so let's say one of those games is on prime time. Does that factor into your want to go and do a road trip? Like if Dallas is on Monday night or Sunday night, would that play into your desire to do that?
I think that'd be awesome. I think that would take it up a notch, because then you get a little extra tailgate time. It feels like you're kind of on vacation a little bit on a Monday night or Thursday night. Yeah, it'd be great. Thursday night's probably no go.
That's tough.
Yeah.
Robert, $2. I bought both Marvin Harrison Jr. shirts with my membership, with this diehard membership. We appreciate you, Robert. Again, the celebration touchdown is sold out, so I hope you grab that one. We still got the Maserati Marv tee in some limited quantities, as well as the math tee. So I know people have been asking, will those shirts along with the K1 celebration ever come back in stock? We don't know. What we do know is that buy this discounted merch now, because we got some new merch coming, and we're fired up to debut it. So thank you, Robert. Thank you for becoming a diehard. Some great deals, Bo, going on right now.
Huge deals going on. Tap in on those. Let's keep it going. How about our guy Hayden for $5? Thank you, Hayden. Maybe it's a red flag. The Bears showed interest in Petzing. Never forget, 0 end arounds for MHJ, and he told McBride to his face that he wasn't going to play much.
It's a big year for Drew. Depending on what you want to believe, I think Drew Petzing is a very capable offensive coordinator with some flaws. As far as like a true candidate for that Chicago Bears job, I think players, coaches, share agents, executives, share agents, like sometimes you do interviews to help people out, to get them an opportunity to practice and get in front of people and to up their value. And I'm not saying that Drew's interview wasn't warranted, but I feel like it felt like a very much like, let's bring this guy and see what he's all about. But he wasn't a priority candidate. And we saw it, like the Bears knew they were going down with the Ben Johnson ship. They were going to come out of, the coaching free agency with a marquee name. So here's what Drew can look forward to. He's going to have, I think, a top 10 defense to play off of, and he's got the full confidence of his head coach and quarterback. So, I mean, you can't ask for a better situation if you're Drew Petzing. You really can't.
Yeah. Look, I mean, I think hopefully he's learned from his mistakes as far as not trying to get some easier, just kind of layup plays for Marvin Harrison Jr. earlier in the game just to get him in rhythm. But yeah, we'll see. We hope that Hayden is not right, that those are true kind of red flags there, and we start to see some more green lights from the Cardinals offensive coordinator. You want me to get to some kind of semi-breaking news a little bit? The Cardinals obviously kind of checked around, brought in free agent defensive back Asante Samuel for a visit after kind of the first wave of free agency, and people were like, well, that's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Could he be somebody, because you had it reported and sourced that the Cardinals were looking to upgrade a veteran defensive back, and Asante Samuel had a pretty solid start to his career, then was bit by the injury bug. According to Jeremy Fowler, Asante Samuel, he is waiting to sign with a new team after undergoing neck surgery in April.
Oh, man.
Sources. Samuel, who visited the Saints today, has a checkup in early July, after which he will reconvene with several interested teams. He does plan to hit the field in 2025.
It's brutal. I mean, you could make an argument that Cardinals brought him in and maybe discovered, or it was just an understanding, like if you're going to play for anybody, you got to get this corrected. It's too bad, because it really, if he has that surgery in December or January after he's already on injured reserve, like he probably cashes in already. So The good news for him is he's young in his playing career. He's going to get some kind of vet minimum incentive-laden 1-year deal. And if he plays well, then he'll be able to parlay that into a nice payday next offseason. But Cardinals ship has sailed on that after this signing of Will Johnson. Now, I think they could still add another veteran, but not anyone of similar high-profile status. Jump on in. We're going to OT here with PHNX Cardinals on a football Monday. Welcome everybody who's been watching on one of our many streaming partners. Party continues here on YouTube. But yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate for Asante Samuel because that was he was like a top 20 free agent when free agency kicked off, Bo.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was a guy that every team was kind of mulling around when you were looking at the top defensive back free agents, and his name was included with a lot of big names. And it is unfortunate because he did have a pretty stellar start to his career with the Chargers, and then things quickly got derailed after that. He was, what do you call those things? He was getting the stingers in his shoulders all the time. Yeah. It's just, I know he's not known for tackling, but it's such a key part of the game. Can't just be strictly a cover corner. All right, let's keep it going with the super chats. Getting down to CBK, very generous, $10. Thank you, CBK. Need Will J Sub-Zero t-shirt. Sweaty J shirt could be a combo of D lineman hanging out the windows of Red Prius driving down next to the stadium through the desert, and just the tip t-shirt, please. A trio of options from CBK. The thought, the imagination that went into the Sweaty J and the boys t-shirt is good. Now, here's one thing I ran into with Will Johnson that we're going to have to make a decision on as far as Sub-Zero, because the Lions tried to adopt Sub-Zero for Terrion Arnold, their first round pick corner. They wear the blue, kind of like Sub-Zero. Can we truly try to steal that for our own zero corner?
I think that's dead. I think the Lions, whether or not, I don't know if Terrion Arnold can play or not. I think that we have to give that to them at least temporarily. Everything else, CBK, I'm 100% down for doing, even adjust the tip t-shirt, although that might not get us past the incremental stages. Don't sleep on a McBride's made shirt either. I would say Sweaty J and the boys has been run up. It's been approved by our direct leadership here at PHNX Sports, and we're taking it to the next level. And then if that shirt gets approved, before it ever hits the streets of gophnx.com, Bo and I will have say on the design of it. And we feel like our shirts that have done the best, we've had a hand in designing. But don't sleep on a McBride's made shirt either, if that's your fancy.
And I think we just need a workshop. Will Johnson working the zero. It seems like
it's to us. It'll come.
It will. But look, Sub-Zero would have gone super hard.
Yeah.
For Chubb, $2. Gardeck is better than BJ.
Wow.
Go for Trey, 4th rounder. So For Chubb wants a Trey Hendrickson deal, and he thinks Dennis Gardeck is better than BJ Ojulari. Both coming off ACL tears, but Gardeck a little bit later in the season.
I think you could make he's definitely more proven. BJ Ojulari hasn't proven anything in the NFL. Dennis Gardeck, at least. Like, if Dennis Gardeck had played all year with the Cardinals, he probably would have had like 7 or 8 sacks, and he would have hit the free agent mark, and he would have been signed to another team for some kind of multi-year deal. So he just blew out his knee, and he was done for the year. But BJ Ojulari, I hope he can play in the NFL. We think, based on his practice reports, that he can play, but it's a huge year for him, because if he's a non-factor this year, then you're on track just to play out your rookie deal and have no impact. Like, we are not, no one's counting on you. So this is, he over everybody else took advantage of Mykel Williams going to San Francisco. If Mykel Williams is an Arizona Cardinal, we would never talk about BJ Ojulari. He's got a window here where he could say, hey, Baron Browning, you're a scrub. You haven't done anything in the NFL. I was a 2nd round pick. This GM drafted me. I'm going to come beat. I hope BJ Ojulari beats out Baron Browning for the starting job. I got to see it.
Yeah, we all got to see it. Let's see. ZT Torres, $4.99. I'm predicting at least one primetime exclusive They got better. Plus, the attention Will Johnson is bringing almost begs for it.
Man, even McAfee today with Rap Sheet said like that's a team that got a lot of mojo. They just do. Like last year, I think you put it well, Bo. Last year when we were talking about this team making the playoffs, you and I saw a path to 10 wins that they almost got, but a lot would have to go right. This team is just so talented now with young talent and the right kind of savvy veteran moves where it's like they can win a lot of different ways. And I think they're going to be a really entertaining watch this year too.
Mike Meyer, $4.99. Sorry I'm late. I was door dashing for some extra money. This is for the Cincinnati trip, by the way.
Wow. Thank you, Mike. We appreciate you.
Wants to go to Cincy, right?
He does. I wouldn't be opposed to like Cincy on a Sunday night game in the jungle would be pretty fun.
Got to be early in the season for me.
Yeah, it would be. But that would.
I want to go to the jungle in the cold.
Yeah, I mean, we were spoiled last year in Miami. We had a great time. Hope everybody else did that. Ended up coming with us as a part of our diehard trip. But yeah, we'll have some real choices. I mean, how quickly do you think we'll make a decision after Wednesday? And we already got people asking us. Yeah, I mean, we'll probably put that in place pretty quickly, I would imagine.
And look, we got big news regarding that.
We do.
Up, as far as right in line with our schedule release show we're gonna do. Mike back, $1.99. Hey, stop spending all your dashing money, my guy. Save it for Cincy. Also, why you ignore my tweet about you, JV? What did he say?
I don't know. Listen, I'm gonna say something that
you put out something about Dylan Gabriel, how you identify and relate to Dylan Gabriel.
I almost made that a part of the show today, but that might need its own show. Well, was that what you're talking about, Mike? You don't need to put a super chat in. But Dylan Gabriel did a presser with fraud Bengals media. Nice franchise Bengals. Browns, excuse me. Nice franchise Browns. The Browns are doing like hits at minicamp outside with Dylan Gabriel. And then Dylan Gabriel gives a night. Listen, I'm not a Dylan Gabriel fan. I am now, though. I'm team Dylan Gabriel. He gives his bit. He gives his soundbite. He walks off. This guy comes up to the presser to grab his little recording device and could not fit the stereotype more of like, I'm a journalist, but let me just try to flex on an NFL player that went in the third round that was a star in college. And he says this schlubby guy is like, I'm taller than him. If I was Dylan Gabriel, I'm trying to be respectful with my verbiage here.
Yeah.
This guy is just getting dominated in life by Dylan Gabriel. Dylan Gabriel could never play an NFL snap and is more relevant than this schlubby guy. And it's not just because I'm a fellow short king with Dylan Gabriel. You talk, how much self-awareness do you lack that you're walking up there and you're like, I'm taller than him? It's just like, hey, did you not watch college football, smart ass? He's not very tall.
The person that he was trying to relay that to just was probably trying to dart eyes and not like, oh God, like, dude, no, not now. So he repeated it. Like, I'm taller than him. I'm taller than him. It's like, yeah, but that's really the only thing you have up on third round pick, Dylan Gabriel. You're right. That guy, that bum in Browns media.
He is a bum. Go look at him.
He did make a lot of people who weren't already Dylan Gabriel fans. That
unfortunately, that guy plays into traditional journalist media guy stereotype to a T. And you guys know who I'm talking about. Just in general, when you see those kind of guys, it's just like, we have fun on this show.
Yeah.
Bo and I, especially Bo, who's at the facility, you need to have so much respect for these players. They're like the 1%ers of the 1%ers. And you're frauding it up because you got a media credential and you're trying to flex on an NFL quarterback. Are you insane? Like, people give Kyler Murray grief about his height. No one on Twitter, on doofus Twitter, would ever say anything to Kyler Murray's face or around Kyler Murray about his height. That was just so stereotypical for the Browns.
Yeah.
They're going to have a disastrous season. Nothing's going to go right. That's just the kind of mindset they have.
You think that guy should lose his credential?
Probably. But I would anybody miss I didn't even know who he was. I had to look
I
him
don't
up.
know who he is either.
I
I couldn't tell you if he was just a reporter out there stringing, getting audio, or if he's a writer or what he might be. But
could you imagine, like, we've been in the Cardinals press room. You're obviously in there all the time, especially at the stadium. Could you imagine a player goes up there and then you go up there and say something condescending, whether it's about their weight
just
or their
downright
height?
disrespectful.
It's so disrespectful. Yeah, he needs to be. He get. No one wants to see his ass ever again. Get out. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Here, the NFL quarterbacks are not replaceable in the NFL. You, my friend, are easily replaceable. Go get a kid from Ohio State. Give him a credential. Some kid out of college. Go reward a kid out. Not that schlubby guy. Get out.
Get somebody in there that can be respectful of the players and guaranteed could probably churn out way better work than that guy. Tim,
real quick. Is he issued an apology? Have we heard from that guy?
I have no idea. I would have to know his name to find it.
Okay, you read the next. I'm looking.
You're gonna find out if he's been doxxed yet. Let's see. Tim, cut my finger on the cheese grater. Why am I bleeding? Hashtag never forget. Mocha Gate. P.S. Trey or not, this is the most exciting team since 2015. I agree. Yeah, it's 2021 was pretty exciting coming off the 8-8 near miss of the playoffs, and of course they came out on fire. But look, I'm with you. We will never forget Mocha Gate. It's something that we don't want, obviously, history to repeat. We understand what goes into our favorite beverages, especially when it's pretty cut and dry. What a mocha is, it's chocolate syrup, and if you're trying to abstain from sugar, probably wouldn't dabble in that. But some of us on the podcast know that, and some don't. So, Tim, great point, man. And regardless if it's 2015 or 2021, this is an exciting time to be a Cardinals team fan. We did a video over the weekend. I encourage you to go check it out. We put to rest actually the rebuild. We did indeed.
I'm still working.
Okay. I'll keep it going here. How about LVL7 Ground Zero Will Johnson? I do think that the way people think about Ground Zero nowadays is what they used to think it as. I just don't think that it would be a good nickname for any player.
I'm blowing it here. I can't find it.
Good job.
This dude, man, you just look at it. Here it is. He was from the Akron Beacon Journal. That's where he's from.
Okay.
A staple of, legacy media here.
The ABJ.
It's
a staple of my morning readings. The Akron Beacon. The Beak.
Yeah. Well, I haven't seen any apologies or anything like that. You guys
What's his name?
I don't know. I couldn't find it. I think I had it, and then I couldn't find it. You guys will have to let us know who it is. But I saw that this weekend, and I just felt compelled.
I hope he feels shame. I hope he feels embarrassment.
Yes.
But who knows?
When, how hard it is to make it to the NFL? You know how difficult it is? I'm talking to my 10-year-old son about, how hard you'll have to work to play high school football and to get playing time in high school football. This guy was I don't love Dylan Gabriel, the prospect. And when we come on this show, we try to be respectful of putting aside the player and the person. We're not at all condemning, you get to the NFL, you are the elite. You are the 1%ers. And this guy with his big old belly walking up there and ripping Dylan Gabriel's height, which, by the way, is one of the biggest low-life moves because you can't control your height. You can work on your accuracy and your speed and your arm strength to some degree and the conditioning you're in. The guys are as tall as they're ever going to be. And that guy goes up there and tries to flex on an NFL quarterback. Maybe Bo will have a better chance to find it. All right, let's see. ARZ6285. Come to Houston. I want to hang out with you. I want to hang out with you. ARZ6285. Let's party. I love the avatar, the Burgening Till Our Die t-shirt, which, by the way, is on sale right now. Go PHNX.com. I would go to Houston. I would go to Dallas. I would go to Cincy, Tampa, New Orleans. Houston against.
I found this guy's name.
Congrats. What is his name?
I think his name is this not. Should I not do?
No, I don't think
Chris Easterling.
That's not him.
No.
That's maybe that is him.
Looks like him.
That is him. Did he announce an apology?
I don't know. I'm trying to scroll. and see if he makes an apology or anything.
That is him, yeah. I mean, our fans.
By the way, how bad has Mason Graham looked in his workouts early on as a Cleveland Brown?
I haven't seen it. Has it been bad?
Hasn't been great.
I have not seen an apology from Chris Easterling. No, nothing. When you search Chris,
I clicked on just one of his articles that he posted on Twitter. It says what Browns quarterback Dillon Gabriel had to say at rookie camp practices, and linked it. And then some guy, 4 Orange, said, "You're an a-hole." I don't think he's said anything. It looks like he hasn't said anything.
It's a bold strategy just to pretend like it didn't happen.
Just tweet through it. Just report through it, Chris.
Power through. Oh my gosh. Bees, $2. JV can be so dismissive. Love it. Never change. This is just who I am. I just I saw that this weekend and I'm like, I could not. First of all, that Dillon Gabriel pick I thought was atrocious, an atrocious reach. Now I'm fully invested with Dillon Gabriel because of this Chris Easterling. But yeah, I'm invested now. Jonathan, 199, final 53 prediction soon. That's a great question. You know, we do that closer to the season, but I'm sure we could do a preview before they break for a break, and maybe the end of this month we could do our predictions on starters and final 53. It will be unequivocally, Jonathan, the toughest that we've ever done on this show, in large part because this time last year, through the first 3 months of the summer, Bo and I were like, who's getting cut at defensive line that we could pick up scraps that could come here and start for the Cardinals, like the Jonathan Ledbetters of the world and, you know, Roy Lopez caliber players and Naquan Jones. Like that's not the life we live anymore. There are very few players that could be cut, if at all, that could help the Cardinals.
Yeah, I think a 53 would be, you kind of have a good sense of who the core of this team is, and very few spots can be won, I think, going into this training camp. So yeah, absolutely. We'll take a crack at that.
I mean, what positions could be helped by a cut player? I would think only maybe like a defensive player that has familiarity and loves Jonathan Gannon, and then you just find a way to make room for that player. Offensively, guard, and maybe receiver. Maybe it'd have to be the perfect puzzle piece, but that's, I mean, like,
about it.
Is Tristan Colon going to end up back on the Cardinals? It feels like that's an option. He's unsigned. He's healthy,
which is strange,
right? It's like the only thing that would give me pause is he Fry's the coach and not Clayton Adams. Why isn't Clayton Adams bringing him into Dallas? Like, Tristan Colon was pretty solid last year. Like, those are the kind of guys where it's like, you guys need an NFL contract. Here's a vet minimum deal. Come into training camp. We'll pay a very little money.
Yeah. LVL7 jumping back in with another Will Johnson nickname suggestion. Project Zero Will Johnson.
I don't hate that. I need Will Johnson.
Know it? Is Project Zero anything?
It sounds cool. I want some names to happen organically because of dominant play. Like, I want, the minute that first Will Johnson pick 6 hits, it's going to hit like, what is this term? It's like that when that beer hit my hand, like Mjolnir on a Friday. You ever see that tweet? That's what that first Will Johnson pick 6 is going to hit like. David Broderick, $2. I don't know. Bo went real hard on Bo Nix, Bo on Bo Crime. So true. Yeah. I saw it, David.
It was ugly. It was ugly. And it did not age well. It aged about as well as guacamole. It was brown, and you had to throw it out very quickly. My takes on Bo Nix, but I won't deny what I saw at the Senior Bowl.
What did you see
from Bo Nix? Was not he did not play well. He was skipping rocks. He was overthrowing. Like, he had one series in the red zone where he looked good. Other than that, throw the whole week away.
I'm going to tell you right now, I don't think it's hyperbole to suggest that he has a CJ Stroud second year kind of fall times 10, because we all know the Broncos didn't play anybody last year. Everybody now has full NFL tape. I know he played a million years at the collegiate level. If you told me Bo Nix regressed this year, it would be very easy to believe that.
It was one of the easiest schedules in the league last year.
It was maybe we joke about the Niners schedule.
Mm-hmm.
It's worse because it's not only the teams they played. How many backups did they play? They played like 12 backups. It felt like.
Yeah.
They played Miami. They beat Miami by like a point or like by a couple points. They were playing Skylar Thompson. I mean, that was their schedule.
Yeah. Looking at Denver
this year.
Yeah. Just as far as how their strength of schedule last year was not great.
Bad.
It was like 41% or something. In San Francisco is checking in like right around there. It's the Niners' upcoming schedule.
Oh God! But that's why we talked about like, can the Giants do us a solid? Can the Browns? Can Dylan Gabriel beat Brock Purdy? I've seen crazier things. I think to me, it's like that's not the craziest thing I've ever heard. Big year for old Brock Purdy.
Did you mean to misspeak there, or did you call him Brock Purdy?
I'm the first person to ever think of that.
Is that it for our super chats? Did we just get through them?
It is. People, do you want us to go in harder on this guy that made fun of Dylan Gabriel? We can do that for another hour. People want to do
that. Chris Easterling, man. Just working right through it. Not even going to acknowledge that he went a little viral over the weekend.
Also, like, this is a safe space, this podcast and this channel. You can come here, be yourself, say what you want to say as long as it's respectful. When you go into an NFL stadium, when you go into a media room, like you cannot get too comfortable doing that kind of thing. You just can't. You got to be buttoned up, man. We can have fun. You can say things privately. Like you got to have the worst self-awareness to just come up and gloat about an NFL quarterback behind his back.
Camera's going.
Like, what happens if Dylan Gabriel's good, and then that's the quarterback of the next 10 years for the Browns, and you're the guy that made fun of him day one? I mean, that's what's the benefit of that? Hey, man, if you're taller than him, just let it be known. Just stand next to him with your recording device that you got in 1995 and just and flex that way. Your subtle flex that way.
The guy he's talking to is just like, knock it
can't.
off. Chris, hey.
I don't know.
You can tell me later, dude. You can tell me later.
Chris and I are actually not buddies. Like when Bo goes into the facility and has to answer for my comments on the show, and Bo's like, we're testing Johnny out on the show. He's not a permanent host.
He said I haven't proved anything. Hey, BJ, I understand. I hear where you're coming from. He hasn't done anything either.
Nothing's better than the Billy Price story. That's the greatest story in the history of this show. You got something to say it to my face. That was actually my co-host. Sorry about that. But Billy,
I've never tweeted about you in my life. I did just tweet facts that a Billy Price snap went over Kyler Murray's head by about 10 feet.
I think that's why I love Yell to Froholt so much. It's because Billy Price's family and AQ Shipley's family came after me in DMs, direct messages on Twitter. It was either them posing his family, or it was one of it was, I think it was AQ Shipley's spouse, and then it was somebody who was related to Billy Price. And it's like, there's Yell to Froholt. Hey, guess what? I don't hear from Yell to Froholt's family because the guy can flip and play and he's good at football. So we don't have to talk about how bad he is at center. What a show.
Unbelievable. One last here. One airborne catch 0.
People really want Will Johnson to have a nickname. Listen, it's definitely on the radar for this podcast, for sure. We're happy with the McBridesmaids coming from this show. It feels organic. Second round picks for this show, we take care of. We do indeed. You take care of us every single day. Hit the like button. Subscribe to PHNX Sports. Cardinals still practicing out there over in Tempe, Bo Brock.
That's right. It's still going down. They wrapped up rookie minicamp over the weekend, but OTAs continue. I think they're meshing in with some workouts going on, and then hopefully we'll get some access later this week, if not the week after that. But look, Cardinals, they're gearing up, man. And Cody Simon just signed his 4-year contract. He's officially in the fold. Just Walter Nolen and Will Johnson to sign their deals. Walter Nolen, I would expect, comes soon. Gray Zabel signed his up in Seattle. He was the 18th pick. Like, once you start to see players kind of in similar draft positions, I think you can start to just see that they'll probably put ink to paper on their deal. Who was it? Some teams kind of screwed some things up. Houston last week, they signed a 2nd-round pick to a fully guaranteed deal. Wide receiver at Iowa State. I don't imagine that happening with Will Johnson, but I don't think it's going to come into play as far as him signing his deal.
Why are teams just being so dumb? Like, just follow the plan, the path
Right.
for everybody. It was like when Jacksonville gave Christian Kirk all that money, or when Browns gave Deshaun Watson all that money. It's just like, can you guys just take a beat here? We're trying to have
to. You were negotiating really against yourself. There was no reason to do any of that.
We're trying to get Will Johnson a deal so he can come out and be an all-pro. Can we not? I don't want to deal with this. Here's what I want to deal with. All of you becoming diehards at GoPHNX.com. Again, plug for the biggest sale we do all year, 30% off the large majority of the merchandise locker, if not more so. We mentioned it, the Greg Dorst t-shirts at $8. Go get it right now. Plus, if you're a diehard already, you get money off indefinitely at the merchandise locker. Pick up this hat, all of our branded Bills gear, 30% off. We're back tomorrow. Hopefully, maybe some puzzles as it relates to the schedule release. Start to put them all in place. We will have a graphic ready to go pertaining to the schedule. So keep it locked in here at GoPHNX.com. Subscribe to PHNX Sports. Hit that like button. Leave us in the comments right now. What would you do to that reporter with the Cleveland Browns? Would you suspend him? Would he lose his credential? Or would you promote him? Hopefully not the latter. For Kev and our entire production team, for Bo, I'm Johnny Venerable. We're back on Tuesday. Peace!
We all silly like the mayor.